Hello and welcome to the Bucks Blast Podcast, the official podcast of Buchanan Community Schools, offering an inside look at the people, events, and initiatives that make our school district a vibrant and thriving part of the community. Each episode features interviews with students, staff, teachers, and community members, spotlighting their achievements, stories, and the unique programs that shape the educational experience at Buchanan Community Schools. In this episode of the podcast, we take a look inside Ottawa Elementary, where education is about more than just academics. It's about belonging. You'll hear how a child's success begins with the building of a strong school community, including meaningful connections between staff, students, and families. And now, here's Buchanan Community Schools Superintendent Patricia Robinson.
Hello and welcome to the Bucks Blast Podcast. Today we are here with some folks from Ottawa Elementary. We're excited to hear about belonging, and I'll start with allowing everyone to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Stacey Denison. I am the principal here at Ottawa.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, and I'm the instructional coach here at Ottawa.
Hi, I'm Emily Foster, and I have had two little girls go through Ottawa.
Okay, and we are excited to hear all things about Ottawa Elementary. Today we're going to start with Mrs. Denison with some questions for her. Ottawa is the first stop for many families in Buchanan. How do you describe the Ottawa way to a new parent?
Good question. Our school is the beginning of a child's educational journey, whether they begin with us in preschool or kindergarten. We recognize that we're the first stop. It's where it all begins, and that is at the forefront of everything that we do. Students are our primary focus, and we try to even go above and beyond to support parents as well. For example, easing the anxiety of their child coming to school and leaving them here in our hands. I always try to compare it to like a little bird leaving the nest and trying to fly on their own for the first time. That's usually what the first day of school looks like here for us. There's lots of emotions, both from kids and parents alike. So we just do our best to reassure families that their child's in good hands, and building that trust with families is so important for a child's success.
Great, thank you. So yes, the anxiety is huge. Families are sometimes leaving their kids for the very first time in your school. So the trust is also important as they start this journey in their educational career. So how does Ottawa help young students master big skills like independence and following the Buck 3?
Independence is huge here, and following the Buck 3, we do be respectful. The Buck 3 is being respectful, being responsible, and being safe. So much learning happens here at Ottawa on so many different levels. We even adopted within the building the motto of amazing happens here. Even the smallest of successes we celebrate. It could be a child being able to walk to their location on their own, opening a bag of chips in the lunchroom, zipping their own coat. Like, we celebrate all successes, even the smallest. I think sometimes people equate school with learning to read and write. But at this age, we're also developing those independent skills, self-confidence, perseverance, problem solving, building friendships with others. So we're really building that foundation of being able to do school. We do so much more than just writing the alphabet and solving math facts. So to help facilitate some of these skills with our littlest learners, we focus on procedures and routines. That's the heart of what we do, and all of that revolves around the Buck 3. When we teach the Buck 3, we're using visuals. We have common language throughout the building, teaching those expectations. Kids are human just like adults. Mistakes are going to happen. So we use those mistakes as teachable moments and referring back to what the expectation here is and what we want to see from our students. The fancy acronym for this is PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. And we focus on what we want to see and hone in on what works for students, and we try to capitalize on the strengths that they bring to the table. This helps build that trust and connection that's needed way before they even internalize the academic skills that we are teaching. Again, just building that relationship with kids is so important. Trust and the community environment helps with teaching those big skills in student success.
Great, thank you. So many people do not understand or even realize that there's a lot to go on before you can actually get to the academic part. So we think of opening up a bag of chips is not big, but for someone who is focusing on and trying to use those large motor skills, it is very huge. And so the celebrations of those is great. So we'll move on to another question that kind of relates to this. We talk a lot about being school ready. How does Ottawa balance academic prep with teaching children how to handle their emotions?
Beginning school and coming through our doors for the very first time is a huge adjustment. So sometimes those emotions maybe get in the way of the learning, the academic learning. So that's why we really take the time and effort to put into building those relationships and connections, making students feel safe and that they belong. So they have that safety and belonging piece. So the learning naturally comes after we have that piece built in. Every human wants to feel belonging in some capacity. And when children don't feel that, that's when we see the big emotions. So just reminding them that it's okay to struggle with new learning, just like riding a bike. They didn't hop on a bike the very first time and take off down the road. So just balancing the emotional with the academic is something that we really put our hearts into with the young ones. More than 65% of people are usually visual learners, so to help handle the emotions and the academics, we use tons of visuals here. That also helps spark independence. When students can see a poster of exactly how do I put on all of my snow clothes, it takes away that anxiety of not knowing what to do when they don't have a parent by their side. Something else that we implement too is zones of regulation. So emotions are equated with colors. So if they're in the red zone or if they're in the blue zone, littles don't always know how to communicate their emotions well, and using those colors and connecting that makes it an easier way for them to talk us through what they're feeling, and then we can intervene with solutions and ways to help them deal with those big feelings that they sometimes come in with.
Great. When we think about our young kids as well, they're with you, and I think about this, they've only revolved around the sun like 4 times, and they have to have some tools that you guys are actually using and sharing with them to share those emotions. So it's huge. It's a huge impact, and not only that, you're getting them ready for the next step and moving away from Ottawa and going on to the other grades. So great. Success stories. Tell us, when you walk through the halls, what are the small, genuine moments that tell you the students are truly thriving?
Well, when I mentioned earlier about opening the bag of chips, that's a small, genuine moment where, I'm a parent, and it's always easy to grab that bag of chips and do it for them. But then when they're here by themselves without that support, that's a big deal when they're doing those things on their own. That's why I've always been, I was a first grade teacher before I became a principal. I taught first grade for, I think, 16 years, and I just loved it because there was so much growth that can be made. The kids are excited about every little thing. That's why I love being in this building with littles, because we can capitalize on even the smallest of successes, and there's so much growth that happens in a span of a school year. And just seeing their independence grow just makes me smile every day. There's kids that did not want to get out of the car by themselves in September, that by November they are walking through that car line door. They are waving and saying hello, and just proud that they're doing it on their own. And those little successes is what keeps me showing up every day, and just having them say, hey, I've got it, or asking them for help. If I'm in the hallway, do you need anything? Where are you headed to? Oh, nope, I'm heading to my location. And they're like, I got it. So those are the little things that really make this building fun, that we just capitalize on even the smallest of things, and just seeing their independence grow. If we're fortunate enough to have students come in preschool, we get them for 3 years. So there's certain students I can think of particularly. I was one of those kids when I was younger. I did not like school. I was the one crying in the car line, my dad dropping me off and waving goodbye to my kindergarten teacher saying good luck. Thankfully, it was only a half-day program, but I had a lot of anxiety and separation anxiety. So that is part of the reason why now, as a building leader and being in this position, I want kids to feel welcomed and safe, and I want them to miss us on the weekends. I want them saying they're not ready to go home, or when Monday comes around, they're glad to be back. And that's the kind of experience that I want for our students here.
Oh, awesome. So some of your own experiences have also driven how you've created this culture of belonging here at Ottawa. So in addition to that, so thinking of the whole theme of belonging, we have our instructional coach here, Mrs. Kelly Smith, hello. So I have some questions for you.
Okay.
So you spent the bulk of your career in another district, always striving to return to Buchanan. What was it about this home that made you want to come back and make a difference?
I've always felt this pull to come back to the community that helped shape me. I spent years gaining experience in other districts, but my goal was always to bring those skills back here. I made some personal sacrifices to make that happen, but it was ultimately an easy choice because of my love for this town and community. Here, students just aren't names on a class list. There's a beautiful small town accountability where we know the families, the cousins, the aunts, the uncles, the moms. Everybody truly looks out for everyone. So being able to serve the community that helped raise me is where I'm meant to be.
You'll have your own son starting school here soon.
Eek.
How does being a future Ottawa parent influence how you support our teachers and students?
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't want him anywhere else. Beyond the luxury of having him close by, being a future Buck parent guides how I approach my role as well. I want Ottawa to be a place where every staff member, including myself, feels comfortable bringing their children here. By asking myself, how can I make this the best environment for him and all of his peers, it makes the work personal. It's not just supporting a school. I'm helping build a foundation for my son and all of our neighbors, too.
And you've started some of that already. So thinking about your role as an instructional coach, what is your role within the school, and how are we ensuring that our literacy strategies are reaching families in a way that feels supportive rather than overwhelming?
Recently, we just hosted our Little Bucks Cafe night during conferences, and it was our most successful one yet. We had hot chocolate, a book tasting, and a great theme, because who doesn't love a good theme, right? I truly believe reading is a latte fun. I also love good puns. So. But the heart of it was meeting parents where they are. Parents have so much on their plates, so we don't expect them to spend hours every night on formal lessons. I actually saw parents visibly relax, and their shoulders literally dropped when I shared practical ways to weave literacy into their everyday lives, rather than giving them packets of work to do every night. So things that they could do in the grocery store, in the car, or during their bedtime routine. We talked about things like a TV show, like the Reading Buddies, that's made by the Reading League. Back in my day, we had the Reading Rainbow and Sesame Street and many other things. And I would see a lot of head nods from parents like, oh, yes, we need to bring some of that back. Rather than just YouTube reels, right?
Right.
And then we also talked about the Strive for 5 concept, which is from a book by Sonia Cabell and Tricia Zucker, which is just about having back and forth conversations with your child and striving for 5 back and forth interactions with your child, which builds vocabulary, oral language, and connections. And it also makes literacy feel like a natural part of the family and not another chore to do. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
just in your mind, so what does success look like for you for these littles, based in your role?
Success looks like that they're happy to be here. I feel like all of our staff does a really good job about making them feel like literacy and every other subject is important and that they want to be here learning. I know as kids get older, sometimes they try to get out of going to school, right?
Right.
But for the littles, it's about getting them excited to learn and not putting out that fire. Like kids were born with that natural desire to want to learn, and sometimes as adults we extinguish that fire. So it's about keeping that flame burning for them and getting them excited and wanting to be here every day.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so keeping with the theme of belonging, we have a parent here. So Ms. Emily Foster.
Hello.
Hello. We are so excited to have your voice and perspective as well. So you had many options for your children's education. Why Buchanan? Why Ottawa?
Yeah, so, we really did look at a lot of options, and we're very grateful that in the state of Michigan, we do have the school of choice, right? And so we took that to heart of really finding a place that fit for our family and for our kids. And what kept pulling us back to Buchanan and Ottawa was the feeling that we got when we walked in the doors. It didn't feel just like another school. It truly felt like a small town community. That's where I grew up, in a small town, went to a smaller school, and I want that for my kids. And so we wanted a place where our kids weren't just another number, where they could actually be known and supported through their entire journey of school. And it was really important for us to find that balance between a strong academic life, but also helping them grow emotionally. And this felt like a really good fit for our family.
Oh, great. So you're tying right into some of the things that Mrs. Denison talked about, the trust, the belonging, the relationships, the emotional supports, all of those things. You felt that when you walked into the building. Awesome. So it's true, Ms. Denison, what you're building is really being felt and shown too when people walk into the building. It's not just words. It's not just something that you guys are saying. It is actually happening. So you have had 2 students attend Ottawa.
Yes.
If you were speaking to a parent considering sending their child here, how would you describe the school and their experience?
So honestly, I tell everyone that the people here, the teachers, the staff, they genuinely care. And you can feel that with every teacher. I've had 2 little girls go through Ottawa. I have another one that absolutely will also be going to school here and start her journey, hopefully in preschool, and get 3 years. But I've seen firsthand how much effort that they really do put into getting to know every child and every family. And my kids feel safe. They feel supported, and they like going to school. They like getting up in the morning. And our 2 girls are very different. I think everyone can say that. Our oldest loves school. Our middle one was very hesitant to initially come here. But when they like to come to school, that for a parent it's huge. And it feels like a place where kids can be themselves, but they're challenged to grow as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I have another question. What is a change you've seen in your children, perhaps in their independence or schools? You mentioned some of that already, that confirms you made the right choice?
So I would absolutely say it's the confidence. Mrs. Denison talks a lot about getting to see them grow and opening the bags of chips. But for me, it's them becoming independent and coming home and seeing that at home as well. They're willing to try new things, and they're confident in themselves, and that doesn't just stay at school. It comes home too as we continue throughout the community. Of course, they've grown tremendously academically. With our middle one, she was very different than our first and struggled with reading initially, and her growth just this year has been incredible. But it's the life skills as well, how they handle challenges, how they're communicating to the outside world, and that really stands out to my husband and I. They come home excited and proud of something they did, and honestly, that's how we know we made the right choice here.
Oh, great. Thank you. I have a question for all three of you. Each of you mentioned a little bit about the staff here, and I know this is not where in some of the older grades you focus on one content, and this group is not one-dimensional. There's a lot of aspects that come into teaching young kids, especially with this being their first experience. And there is a skill set of folks that have to be in front of them. So talk to us more about the staff. And Mrs. Foster, I'd like to talk to you first about that.
Yeah, so honestly, every staff member here, I think, knows our kids by name. Honestly, that's where that small town feeling really comes in. They all know every kid, and they can tell you something about every child, and they get to know every single person in the building.
Speaking on what she said, too, is that like when we're at car line, we always make a point to greet every single child getting out of their car by name. And so we learn them very quickly, but also I think even if we don't get a good morning back or the best morning mood, they feel welcome here and feel like that we know them, and their families feel safe letting them get out of the car with us.
Yeah. And I'll also touch on that too, because my kids in the morning are not always the happiest, right? But they get out, but it's not just knowing our middle one, but we have a younger one that's still in the car seat, right? And every single person that helps in car pickup line, they all know her. Oh, wow. And one of them has even brought her donuts one day. Like, they get to know even the kids that aren't here, the siblings. And so that just helps the last one that'll go to school here already feel comfortable to come in. So it's not just the kids that are here in the building, but their siblings as well, they get to know.
Yeah, every time our staff comes together and we talk about the work that we do here, it's multifaceted. You're not just coming into a classroom and standing in front of a group of students and teaching skills. You are tying a shoe. You are putting a Band-Aid on a cut. You are being a counselor, and you're being that school parent. So that comes with a lot of additional roles outside just being a classroom teacher. And we have that mindset of those are the extras. Those are the things that we have to bring to this age group and to this building to get the maximum success out of our kids. And I always say you have to be of a certain mindset and personality to be here. I could never teach high school. So I think everyone has their niches, and here you're not just the teacher. You're everything.
Okay, well, great. Thank you. So we know we are in the season of school of choice season, where parents are thinking about their next choice for schools. I know I saw a student in the office for bringing back a welcome back packet. So if folks or parents or families are trying to think about making a decision about where to send their child next, where can they find information about Ottawa?
Of course, on our district website, we have Facebook pages. They are more than welcome just to come into our office and take a tour of the building. We always make time, and we do get a lot of folks coming in wanting to tour the building, speak with me, see some classrooms in action. So our door is always open. You can always find, like I said, you can find information on the web, but you can also get the hands-on, firsthand experience by coming in and doing a tour with us.
Great. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for your conversation and your description of how students belong and families belong to Ottawa Elementary School. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.
Thank you for listening to the Bucks Blast podcast. Tune in next time as we hear more stories about the amazing individuals that shape our community. Until then, let's go Bucks!